Groupmuse is a platform that connects hosts like the People's Forum this evening, hosts with our lovely musicians, with folks like you who want to experience wonderful chamber music. So this evening, as I said, typically Groupmuses are in folks' homes. Our hosts open their homes to our musicians and to people like you all to just experience the power of chamber music in the style of music of the salon from the Romantic era. This evening, you are attending a massive muse. So a massive muse is music of the larger chamber that we like to say is chamber music in unexpected spaces. So you are joining us tonight at a massive muse to show you being present here, I guess. I'm not used to. You being present here tonight shows support for our musicians and the 10,000 hours that they have put in. So for folks that aren't aware, 10,000 hours is considered to be the average number of hours that an artist or anyone really, anything that you devote your time and your life to that puts them on the path towards mastery. So again, thank you for being here and supporting Sound Off as well as being a part of Groupmuse. I'm gonna turn it over to Ryan. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you for being here tonight. My name's Ryan. I work here at the People's Forum, and we're so glad to have you here and to have Sound Off Music for Bail back again. I love when they're here. It's always an awesome performance, and these are great musicians. I heard all of the music that happened before the show. So I just want to say really briefly a little bit about the People's Forum. So we're a political education and cultural space. We have lots of different events that happen here. Right now we're actually in the middle of our Pan-African Revolutionary Summer School that's going through the whole summer. It's every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We would love to have any of you join. You can come on any of those days that you would want to. Amazing instructors from the continent, from the diaspora, talking about Pan-Africanism, its history, and its meaning for revolutionary movements today, too. But the real reason why I wanted to speak for just a moment is to talk about something that's really near and dear to my heart, which is this space. The People's Forum is celebrating its 5-year anniversary this year, in just a few months, actually, in September. And as part of that, we are inviting people that call the People's Forum a home, a space where they come, where they see events, where they come to have political education, to find community, to consider donating to the People's Forum. It's only through donations from people like you all and me, I've donated to the People's Forum, that we're able to continue the work that we do. So if you're interested in that, if you want to see more shows like the one that's happening tonight, you can, there's a QR code on this poster and lots of other posters that look like it around the space. And if you scan that, you'll get a donate link. There's also at the front desk where UA is at, there's an iPad that has a donation page already ready on that. And with that, am I handing it back to you, Jay? Okay. Thank you for being here.
God's timing, because I just finished writing my speech. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight at the People's Forum or via our live stream. Hi to everybody on the live stream. I'm going to try to not drop my laptop. This is Jay Julio, head of Sound Off Music for Bail. And on behalf of all of us at Sound Off, thank you so much for being here. Sound Off Music for Bail is a collective of abolitionist musicians, organizers, and audience members devoted to using Western classical music to push our world towards true public safety and systems of care for all. We are expressly anti-racist, anti-classist, anti-misogynistic, anti-homo and transphobic, and expressly for the liberation of all people through lifting up those most oppressed by poverty and criminalization. This show, our 2022 to 2023 season finale after 3 years of organizing, of doing this, is one that truly marks a moment. And our organizing team has grown to include some people that you'll hear from later tonight. Thank you to Connie Lee, Matthew Hymas, Yaz Lancaster and Kayla Williams, who each are physically or electronically here today, to our hosts at the People's Forum, particularly Ryan Hamby, who is running our audio video and who you just heard from, and to musical collective Groupmuse for partnering with us on this massive muse. Thank you so much, Adrian and Dara, who are repping them today, and to Groupmuse for being a personal home for me for the past 8 years. And lastly, to our volunteers today, thank you so much, you and everyone who was here earlier today. Some more thank yous. I'd like to take a moment to thank our hosts here in this space, the People's Forum. It's a beautiful physical home and a beautiful intellectual home for left and progressive groups in New York City and from across the world. Thank you to the Greenwich Music House for hosting our rehearsals. Thank you to the Justice Committee. This show supports and is produced in partnership with the Justice Committee, which supports racial justice across this beautiful city and supports families who are affected directly by police brutality in New York City. You will hear more from a wonderful representative of theirs and a care worker in her own right, Gabby Cuesta, later tonight. As an organization fiscally sponsored by arts nonprofit Fractured Atlas, our donations, all donations to our work, processed through them are tax deductible. In a program, you will see a list of individual contributors who have supported this show, as well as some institutions that have helped us in our change-making work this season. The Young Arts Foundation, the Abolitionist Teaching Network, and the Surdna Foundation. So QR codes are there in your program for you know what. Speaking of phones, use of phones to record audio and video is totally fine. We ask that you keep your sound and flash off to avoid any embarrassing mishaps during the show. Text your friends to tune in to our live stream right now, or get on the train. You can take the 123-7 QR and whatever to catch this show, which will be going on for the next hour and a half. And please tag us in anything that you post on Insta and Facebook, especially if you're rocking our sweet Sound Off merch, which you can purchase during Intermission. The quartet is on stage. I have to modify my speech. We have a few words from Sound Off director Connie Lee, who will be joining us for tomorrow's show in Philly. Yaz Lancaster is here with us and programmed the first half of this show. We are so grateful that they worked on this. We're so grateful for Connie's words on this. Ryan, whenever you're ready.
The second piece that y'all will be hearing on today's show is... Hey everyone, I'm Connie. I'm one of the directors of Sound Off Music for Bail. Thank you so much for coming out to today's show. It really means so much to us. We're so excited that you're here. I'm sorry that I can't be there today, but I will be at tomorrow's show in Philly. And I am just relaying some of another one of our directors, Yaz Lancaster, their notes on why they have decided to program two of the pieces on today's show. So first, I will begin with talking to you a little bit about Tanyaradzwa Tawengwa's piece, Rurimi Ruwa Amai. So Yaz decided to program Tanyaradzwa's piece, which translates to the mother's tongue, as a way to kick off today's season finale show. This piece is inspired by her experience as an immigrant in this country by way of Zimbabwe, and it incorporates voice notes from her mother across the span of 12 years. For Sound Off, the Justice Committee, and the Abolitionist Law Center, Yaz knows how important it is to all of us to uplift the people who are in the margins and those who are most susceptible to state harm, which definitely includes immigrants. At the same time, Tanyaradzwa's quartet is so spirited and joyful, reflective of what makes community, solidarities, and inclusivity so powerful. And so they thought it would be the perfect way to welcome us into this space. The second piece that y'all will be hearing on today's show is Report by Sebastien Zel. Sebastien is one of Yaz's close friends, and this piece sets an erasure poem that Yaz made using the police report from Trayvon Martin's murder in 2012. The first of many protests that Yaz attended was for Trayvon that spring, and it's strange how his passing and this piece that Yaz and Sebastien worked on together in 2016 feel both so long ago, but also like just yesterday. It sometimes feels discouraging that there have been many more similar situations to Trayvon since that happened, but it's also a reminder that we must keep doing the work until we create the world that we want to live in.
Ndiye yu musikana wekwedu, ndiye yu Tanya musikana wekwedu, anopenya kufanana nezuva, anopenya kufanana nezuva. Be there with you in spirit at your opening on the world stage. God bless always.
Face down.
Subject. Shut.
And was.
Still. His back.
Wet and.
Bleeding.
The.
Black male subject lying on the ground. The subject. Laying.
On the ground. The subject.
Black male subject.
Yelling. For.
Help.
Yelling. For. Yelling.
For.
Help.
But no one.
Hey all, we will now be taking a brief intermission, and after that, Gabby Cuesta from the Justice Committee will be speaking, followed by the rest of your musical program. Again, thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you after the intermission, which will end at 7:35. See you then. One quick thing, sorry to interrupt your intermission. Now is a really great time to take a look at what the People's Forum Cafe has to offer. Since food closes at 8, they'll have drinks all night, however. Secondly, take a look at our merch table. We have very cute shirts. Thank you, Yu. We have very cute totes. That's right, Adrian. Thank you so much. They're very cute. Shirts are $13 and totes are $7. Very reasonable. Also adds up to $20 in total. And if you want to do some light reading, there are wonderful books all around the People's Forum, as well as some from my own personal collection on the same tables where you checked in. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon. All right, folks, we have about 2 minutes before intermission is up. And if you haven't had the chance yet to talk to Gabby, you can still get her after the show. I'm going to snag her right now. All right, people, thank you so much for buying all of that Sound Off merch, as I know that you have. No kidding. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to move on with the next part of the night, which, if you've been to a Sound Off show, you know is our featured speaker. So since our inception, we have been a classical music organization that has really centered ourselves around making sure that we, as a collective that's primarily people of color, are responsive to what our people need. Even as we work in this very rarefied art form, this art form that is, yes, Western classical music, but also includes so much labor from people of color, from Handel having used his profits from the slave trade to power his compositions, from Mozart having donors sponsored by the slave trade, all the way through to our current day, the works that you heard earlier in the program, which deal with real problems felt by real people. And we in classical music are not immune from that. With that being said, I'm so excited that we have returning to us from our last collab, I think in 2022, summer 2022, so we're a year out from that, the Justice Committee. The Justice Committee is a organization that grew out of a lot of Puerto Rican organizing in like the 60s, 70s, am I right? Okay, as a counterpart, they were preceded by the Young Lords, and I believe the Puerto Rican Congress, I'm gonna get a few of the words wrong, but many of the reforms that were made popular by the work of the Black Panther Party, such as free lunch in schools and racial equity, were also those shared by the Young Lords Party, and many of the people that were foundational in that work founded also the Justice Committee, which now is a collective of people of color that serve and support families that have lost members to police violence in New York City. I'm gonna get off the mic now. I'm just so grateful for their work. And we have Gabby Cuesta, a representative of JC and somebody who I've worked myself with. So please come up to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. I'm so happy to be here. I am going to read a bit, so I apologize. I want to make sure I get all the information to you all. Again, like Jay said, I'm Gabrielle Cuesta. My pronouns are she, they, and I'm a proud member of the Justice Committee. I also strongly believe in abolition, and also abolition just as a practice, right? Something that we're doing every day. And that we're working towards, and we also are doing it as we live. I'm a lover of building community, someone who's really passionate about working towards a less harmful and a more joyful world, and that's really what brought me to the work of Justice Committee. So although when I explain the work of Justice Committee, some of it may be challenging to hear, right? The type of work that we're doing. There's also a lot of hope embedded in that work. So before I jump into more details about the work of Justice Committee, I will ask and invite some audience participation. So I would love for folks, you don't have to participate if you don't want to, but if you could raise your hand if you or someone you know has been approached or stopped by the NYPD since the start of 2023. Okay, yeah. Could you raise your hand if you or someone you know has been stopped by the NYPD prior to 2023? At any point, right? A lot of folks in the room. Can you raise your hand if you know who Eric Garner was? Can you raise your hand if you know who Kowalski Trawick was? Raise your hand if you care about the safety of your community. Also, I'm raising my hand for all these things. And can you raise your hand if you want to help end racial profiling and police violence? Wonderful. Yeah. So we're all in the right place, for sure. And I'm going to explain a bit. I know Jay mentioned a bit about the work of Justice Committee. We are a grassroots organization, right? Our membership is of folks who identify as Black, Indigenous, people of color. And we're building a movement against police violence and systemic racism in New York City. I'm going to move this up a little bit. Like Jay mentioned, we have a 40-year history of leading this movement. We were founded by the former Young Lords Party members, one of whom was Richie Perez. He was one of our main founders, and Vicente Panama Alba in the early 80s in the New York chapter of the National Congress for Puerto Rican Rights. And we've been an independent organization since 2000. The heart of our work has really been about supporting, organizing, and uplifting the leadership of families who've lost loved ones to the police or have been negatively impacted by police violence. We've worked with the mothers of Eric Garner and Marley Graham to wage citywide campaigns that ultimately got Daniel Pantaleo fired for killing Eric and forced Richard Haste and Scott Morris out of the NYPD for killing Marley. Right now, currently, we're supporting families of Kowalski Trawick, Delron Small, Alan Felice, Antonio Williams, and Ronald Anthony Smith, who've all lost their lives to police violence. And we're demanding that Mayor Adams fire the NYPD officers who killed their loved ones. They're still on the force today. We also work at the neighborhood level to activate our communities in holding the police accountable and building true people-led community safety through political education. We hold workshops, we do cop watching, and we lead campaigns and projects to decrease reliance on law enforcement and to keep each other safe. Since 2020, we've been working with an organization, it's a coalition called Communities United for Police Reform. Some of you may be in organizations that are a part of that, and really demanding New York City to divest from policing and criminalization and invest in our communities with resources, right? We do have a long way to go. You may have seen, or you may know or not know, that the City Council just passed an FY24 budget with the biggest NYPD budget we've ever seen, over $1 billion higher than 2023. With that, you may have also seen under Eric Adams a revamp of what they used to call the anti-crime unit and is now neighborhood safety teams. And with these teams, there's been a rise in racially disparate and unconstitutional stops. So since 2023, 24% of those stops have been unconstitutional, and 97% have been of Black and Latinx New Yorkers. The cops who killed Kowalski Trawick, as I mentioned before, Delron Small, Alan Felice, Antonio Williams, and Ronald Anthony Smith, they are still not fired. And we've also seen an increase in criminalization of homelessness and mental illness, right? We've seen that through sweeps on subways, involuntary hospitalization of folks, among other things, right? What you may not know is that more Democratic council members voted no on this horrendous budget than ever since the start of our budget justice campaign. And we've seen every one of those no votes as a victory, right? So that's something to be hopeful about. And ultimately, we are continuing to build power to ensure New York City takes a new transformative approach to public safety that prioritizing people's needs rather than criminalizing them, right, and locking them up. We are also currently waging a campaign with dozens of ally organizations to demand that the City Council pass something called the How Many Stops Act. And this will force the NYPD to publicly report on all street stops of New Yorkers, bringing transparency and oversight to policing, right, that we don't have. We don't have the numbers, right? So we can't even fight something that we don't even know the numbers for. And I'm now going to transition very quickly, thank you for bearing with me for that history, about a project that I am organizing at the moment with Justice Committee. So on a note towards hope, I don't know if any of you know Miriam Kaba. Anyone know Miriam Kaba in the room? Miriam is an amazing abolitionist, has written many books. We Do This Till We Free Us is one of my favorites, so if you haven't read it, you should. That hope is a discipline, right? That's what Miriam has said. So the project I'm working on is called the Our Vision of Safety Storytelling Project. So this project really started from the uprisings of 2020 after the murder of George Floyd. And we wanted to really increase the dialogue around divestment from police and investment into communities. Something that we all should know, or maybe don't know, is that Black and brown communities have been keeping each other safe and utilizing safety practices that don't involve the police for centuries, right? And what we want to do is capture and record those practices so that they can be shared widely and create more of an intergenerational dialogue around what safety means and how we are and we can continue to co-create safety in our communities. So we've already collected stories. We have about 20 so far. And a lot of folks have shared stories about safety practices, ranging from community-based organizations that provide shelter, food, resources, to those community members who create a sense of belonging and self-worth. So it started as us collecting stories from members of the Justice Committee, and now we're publicly launching our Vision of Safety Storytelling Project. So any of you in the room can participate in sharing your story. So we would love for you all to share your story. We're collecting them via Zoom at the moment. You do get a $30 Visa gift card for sharing your story. So we definitely want to hear your voices, especially if you live in New York City. We currently are missing voices from those who are 45 years and older. We have a lot of young folks who have been willing to share, but we're missing some of those voices. And also voices who are from Brooklyn, Jackson Heights, and the South Bronx. We're missing some of those neighborhoods. All these stories, after we collect them, we're going to create a beautiful art showcase, and we hope that it will be really interactive, engaging community members, and it will create a deeper conversation around safety, harm reduction, transformative justice, and investment of resources into our community. So we would love for all of you to join that art showcase. We don't have a date yet. But if you put your email on the sign-in sheet, then you will be emailed when we have the art showcase. If you want to tell your story, I would love to schedule a time to collect your story, and you can reach me. I have an email, gabrielle.cuesta@gmail.com. I have flyers in the front that has a QR code and also my email on it. And also, if you're interested in becoming a member of Justice Committee, you can volunteer as much as you want as a member. We would love to have you. So you can email info@justicecommittee.org. You do have to identify as Black, Indigenous, or a person of color. If you identify as white, you can still volunteer through our fundraising team. So that is all I have. Thank you for listening to my whole spiel about Justice Committee, but we're happy to be here and would love to have you join us.
Hi, everybody. Before we move on to the next half of the program, I want to shout out JC again. It's, a lot of people go on the ground every day to, demand a justice, and it's very special to have a representative come into this space and bless us with those words. I also want to say me and Gabby did an interview, and I think people oftentimes don't even realize when they're performing practices that promote public safety. My interview was with a high school music teacher who talked about how her patience with students was often what kept them from dropping out. That her knowledge that many of them were coming from difficult situations in which they had to be sort of mothered more than you would expect in a more affluent or in a, frankly, a whiter school. And that, for me, was deeply touching. I felt the same way about many of my orchestra teachers. Pivoting from that, I'd like to invite Kayla Williams to talk about the second half of the program, which she did an amazing job of programming. Really, thank you so much for being here, Kayla. Come up here.
Hi, everyone. Jay, thank you so much for having me here. I'm so happy that I could be a part of the team and programming this music. I'm usually on the other side. I am a violist. I'm a freelancing violist here in New York City. So a little bit about the price, which I really want to focus on. I wanted to program Florence Price's 5 folk songs in counterpoint to share a revelation I had within myself as a musician. While working towards my master's degree during the pandemic, I found it harder and harder to relate to the music I was playing based on events happening in the world. My teachers often had me teleport to a time in a country I have never lived in and a language I haven't yet learned, yet. But in this piece of music, when I had the opportunity to play this for my first Sound Off performance with colleagues, we actually just finished recording it and are going through the works for that. I was able to teleport to a time in my childhood where I listened to my mother and my grandmother sing the tunes that inspired Price's piece. And for quite some time, I blamed my teachers and the institution for my struggle to find inspiration in Western music. This piece of music is evidence that my culture has heavily influenced classical music and is continuing to do so. This is all to say, remember to do your research and to share what you've learned and create spaces where you can also do just that, like Jay and his awesome team has done. And Akua's piece, I just love Akua Dixon. She's amazing. And I'm a lady with the blues. So I hope you enjoy it.
Please give us a few minutes as we wait for one of our artists to come back. Talk amongst yourselves. shout. Oh, I won't. If this did not move you tonight, there's something a little bit off with your energy. You can consult somebody for that. Thank you guys all so much for being here. Truth be told, I was talking to my partner the other day, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know if anybody's gonna show up. I don't know if anybody's gonna be here to listen to this amazing quartet play. Thank you. Please give it up again for this amazing set of musicians. Again, Justice Ross and Che Buford on violin, on violin, Kyron Littlejohn on viola, Emmanuel Losa on cello. I don't know if we ever did introductions. I'm so sorry, y'all. We have another shot at it tomorrow, so let me just say this. If you like this show, you can watch it back again on our archived live stream, but if you're in Philly randomly tomorrow, you have something better, which is the live show again at the Philadelphia Ethical Society, in which you will hear different improv, potentially, in Ladies Blues. That's right. Improvising a lot of that. I want to thank one more time the incredible organizers who made this happen, because this is never like one person's thing. Caleb Williams and Laz Lancaster, who are in the room with us today. Please stand up again. Yes, I'm so sorry, I insist. Gabby Cuesta from JC, please, thank you so much. Give her some flowers. Thank you so much to our people from Groupmuse that keep all this running. Thank you so much, Adrian and Dara, both of whom have played with Sound Off before, let me add. Yu, thank you so much for volunteering. Thank you so much to everybody at the People's Forum. Let me see if I can get names. David, who's not here. Yue, who is here. Thank you so much, who checked you in. Shout out for checking you in, keeping you safe. Thank you, Ryan, so much for running AV so beautifully. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to shout out. I bet Connie and Hymus and Matt Hymus are watching right now. We love you. Thank you. Other organizers with us. Thank you, Sebastien, for writing us a deeply moving piece. Thank you, Akua, who I hope is watching on the live stream, for also writing a beautiful piece. Tanyaradzwa, who also might be live streaming in. Thank you to Florence Price, who has received a resurgence in her music. So if you haven't heard her before today, please check her out. Thank you so much to all of you for being here as well. You know, after 2020, you know, there's an influx of a lot of very well-meaning people who wanted to make things happen, and a lot of that dried up as, of course, we were past the pandemic, and we all got vaccines, whatever. And people were able to go outside, and some people were able to act like nothing had changed, and many people were not able to, whether they had lost people to COVID, which still exists, and or if they had lost people to police violence. And I think one of the most important things to remember that I hope we exemplify at Sound Off in our work is that things can be very beautiful if you fund them properly, if you support them properly, if you create the conditions for people, all people, to succeed and grow. And thank you so much for being a part of the work, because without y'all, these people who are part of this project cannot get paid. You can find us on IG and Facebook. I hope you connect. If you have a little bit of coin, that's also very helpful, because we are in the middle of a lot of exciting projects. Please keep apprised. Please stay in touch. Please enjoy the rest of your evenings, y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for being here again. I hope you will connect and find Sound Off on all the socials. If you would like to connect with Groupmuse, you can connect with us on Instagram at Groupmuse. I hope you'll also check out www.groupmuse.com, and I would love to see you all at more Group Muses. And thank you for believing in what we do here in the Power of Chamber Music. You have a good night.